Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with this simple truth. Change is hard. It's uncomfortable. It challenges the very fabric of who we are and forces us to question everything we thought we knew about ourselves. But here's the reality: growth is inevitable for anyone who dares to dream big. And sometimes that means the people closest to us will not understand the new version of ourselves. And you know what? That's perfectly okay. Today, I want to talk about something powerful, something transformative, the idea that when you evolve, others may not recognize you. And when they don't, that's a sign you're on the right path. When you decide to grow, you're stepping into something far bigger than just a goal or a project. You're embarking on a personal journey, a journey that is uniquely yours. Just like a caterpillar entering the cocoon, it's a process that only you can go through, and no one else can experience it the way you will. Now, picture this: the caterpillar doesn't stop and ask the other leaves if it looks strange. It doesn't check with the other caterpillars to see if they approve of its decision. No, it just enters the cocoon because it understands something deep within itself. There's more to its existence than what it is right now. And so it trusts the process. That same truth applies to your journey of change. You're on a path, a journey of transformation. And the first thing you must realize is that your transformation is personal. It's not about anyone else, it's about the person you are becoming. So when you start down this road, understand that there will be people who won't understand why you're doing what you're doing. There will be people who won't see your vision, who will call it a phase, or worse, tell you that you've lost your mind. They might question your motives, your choices, your new habits, and even your values. But here's the most important thing: you're not changing for them. You're changing for yourself. You're changing because you have a deep, burning desire to grow into a version of yourself that's bigger, stronger, and more aligned with who you know you are meant to be. The truth is, people won't always understand your vision, especially when it challenges their own beliefs or makes them uncomfortable. And that's okay. You see, every great change in history started with someone who dared to be different, to see the world through a new lens. Take, for example, Oprah Winfrey. When she began her career, she wasn't the powerhouse we know today. She faced rejection, failure, and criticism at nearly every turn. People told her she didn't fit the mold. They told her she didn't have what it takes. They questioned her dream because it didn't make sense to them. But Oprah knew something those around her didn't. She knew her potential. And she wasn't willing to let the world's doubts stop her from becoming the person she envisioned herself to be. Today, she's a global icon, but that journey wasn't easy, and it certainly wasn't without resistance. The people who doubted her along the way, they didn't see what she saw. But she had the courage to keep going, despite the noise. The reality is that nobody else can see your potential the way you can. And when you choose to step into that potential, when you decide to evolve and pursue your purpose, there will always be people who don't get it. They'll try to hold you back with their doubts, their fears, and their limitations. But that's where you must stand firm. Your growth is yours to own. Your transformation is yours to claim. Don't let anyone's confusion or disbelief stop you from becoming the person you're meant to be. Think about it. When you step into the unknown, when you choose to grow, it can feel like you're going against the tide. The world around you might stay the same, but you're changing. You're evolving. And that will feel uncomfortable, even lonely at times. But remember, growth is supposed to be uncomfortable. It's supposed to challenge you. Think about a plant growing through the soil. The seed has to break through the earth, but once it does, it's free to reach toward the sun. That same breaking free is happening in your life as you push through the doubts and fears of others. Embrace it. Trust the process. Just like that caterpillar, you are in a process of becoming something greater than you are right now. And no one, not even the people closest to you, can fully understand what that transformation looks like. But you don't need them to. All you need is the belief that you are worth this journey and that the person you're becoming is someone who will achieve greatness. So don't let anyone's lack of understanding stop you. Embrace the change, embrace the discomfort, and remember, your growth is your own. It's personal, and it's a journey worth taking. We've all been there, right? You start making changes in your life, decisions that push you to grow, to be better, to move in a direction that feels right for you. And then something happens. Suddenly, the people closest to you, the ones you love, the ones who've known you the longest, begin to look at you differently. They start questioning your decisions, your actions, your new habits. Maybe it's your career shift. Maybe it's the way you're eating now. Or maybe it's the fact that you're setting boundaries where you never did before. And it can feel like the world is closing in on you. It's overwhelming, isn't it? You might be tempted to shrink back, to go back to what was comfortable, to the version of yourself that didn't challenge anyone or anything. But here's the truth you need to hear today. Most of the time, when people question your decisions, it's not because they don't like you. It's because your transformation threatens something deep within them. It makes them confront their own fears, their own doubts, and their own insecurities. You see, change is uncomfortable. It shakes things up. It challenges the status quo, the comfortable little boxes people have placed around their lives and sometimes around you. When you start to change, when you begin to evolve and move toward your better self, it forces people around you to ask themselves a question they're often too afraid to ask. Why aren't they the same anymore? And deeper still, it forces them to face a truth they'd rather avoid. If they can change, maybe I can too. That's a tough thing to swallow, because the hardest thing for people to deal with is the idea that they too could grow, that they too could evolve into something better. So instead of celebrating your progress, they project their own fears onto you. They'll tell you you're being reckless, that you're taking unnecessary risks, that you're making a mistake. But what they're really doing is projecting their limitations. They're projecting the boundaries they've set for themselves, the fears that are keeping them stuck. And here's the key. None of that has anything to do with you. I want to share a story with you. There was a man I knew who worked in a family-owned business. His father had worked there. His grandfather had worked there. It was the family legacy. And for years, he had lived under the expectation that he would follow in those same footsteps. But inside, he was dying. He was unfulfilled. He felt stuck in a life that didn't match his passion or his vision for the future. So one day, after years of battling with himself, he decided to make a bold move. He stepped away from the family business, and he chose a completely different path. He went after a career that spoke to him, something that felt true to who he was meant to be. But the moment he made that decision, his family, those who loved him, those who wanted the best for him, started questioning him. They told him he was making a huge mistake. They told him he was being foolish. "What are you doing?" they asked. "You're throwing away everything we've built." They didn't understand. And it hurt. It hurt because the people who were supposed to support him the most didn't see his vision. But here's what happened next. He followed his heart. He took a chance. Today, he's the owner of a successful startup. And the success and happiness he's found are the results of him not listening to the fear and doubt that others projected onto him. He didn't let their judgments define him. And that's the lesson here. Don't let the fear of others' judgment stop you. The opinions people share with you are not a reflection of your potential. They're simply a reflection of their own limitations. Their fear is not your fear. Their doubts are not your doubts. Their boundaries are not your boundaries. When you step out of your comfort zone, when you decide to grow and push forward into something new, it can threaten the comfort of those around you. And that's not your problem, it's theirs. You can't shrink yourself to make them feel safe. You can't hold back your potential because it makes someone else uncomfortable. At the end of the day, your journey is yours alone. Their opinions are just that, opinions. And the truth is, they might not always understand, but they'll come to see the impact of your growth. It's not about them, it's about you and your future. So don't let their fear keep you from reaching your full potential. Keep moving forward, even when they don't get it. You're not here to please them. You're here to become the best version of yourself. And that's all that matters. When you're in the process of changing and evolving, you're going to feel discomfort. It's inevitable. And it's not a sign that something's wrong with you, quite the opposite, in fact. It's a clear indicator that you're growing. If you've ever worked out to build strength, you understand exactly what I mean. The soreness you feel after pushing your body to this nip is a sign of weakness or failure. It's a sign that your muscles are rebuilding and getting stronger. That pain, that discomfort is part of the process. It's how growth happens. The same thing applies to personal growth. When you begin to challenge yourself, when you push yourself to become better in your career, your health, or your relationships, you will undoubtedly encounter moments of discomfort. It might feel like you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and frankly, that's exactly what's happening. Think about it. Growth never happens within the confines of what's familiar. If you want to reach new heights, you have to break out of the old patterns and habits. And when you do that, it's going to feel uncomfortable. You might wake up earlier than you're used to. You might change your diet, or you might start setting boundaries where none existed before. And while those around you may not understand these changes, it's important to recognize that this discomfort is exactly what's required for your transformation. People might question your decisions. They may not understand why you're suddenly prioritizing your health, or why you're putting in extra hours to build a business. They might think you're overworking or being too strict with yourself. But what they don't see is the bigger picture. They don't see the growth that's taking place beneath the surface. What they don't realize is that discomfort is a necessary companion to growth. You can't become the person you want to be by staying comfortable. You have to push yourself past your limits, beyond what feels safe and familiar, to experience real change. Think about Steve Jobs. In the early days, he wasn't your typical tech company executive. His vision for Apple was considered unconventional and even unrealistic by many in the industry. People told him he was too idealistic, too focused on perfection, too out of touch with the practical side of business. He didn't fit the mold of what was expected in Silicon Valley. But Jobs didn't let that stop him. He didn't settle for mediocrity or conform to the norms that others tried to impose on him. Instead, he embraced the discomfort of challenging the status quo. He pushed the boundaries of what was possible. And that discomfort, that willingness to stand apart, led to some of the most revolutionary products in the history of technology. The very discomfort that people tried to criticize him for was the driving force behind his success. So when you feel discomfort in your own journey, don't shy away from it. Embrace it. Understand that it's a sign you're stretching beyond your current limits. It means you're doing something new, something significant. Whether you're learning a new skill, building a new relationship, or stepping into a new role, discomfort is the growing pain that comes with expansion. And instead of avoiding it, lean into it. Trust that every uncomfortable step you take is making you stronger, more capable, and more prepared for the person you are becoming. The key to all of this is perspective. It's how you view the discomfort that determines whether you'll grow or shrink. When you start to feel the tension of growth, you have two choices. You can either pull back, retreat into your old, comfortable ways, or you can push forward knowing that this is where the magic happens. The discomfort you feel isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's proof that you're on the right track. Remember, growth requires stretching, and stretching always comes with some discomfort. If you want to see what you're truly capable of, you need to be willing to endure the growing pains that come with it. So when you're feeling the heat, when you're in the thick of it, remind yourself that this is exactly what needs to happen for you to reach your next level. Your discomfort is a testament to your commitment to becoming better. It's not a sign that something is wrong. It's the clear indication that you are on your way to something great. So embrace it fully, because on the other side of that discomfort is the person you're meant to be. As you continue on your journey of growth and transformation, there's something incredibly powerful that you must embrace: the power of self-acceptance. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But if we're honest with ourselves, it's one of the hardest things to practice. How many times have you told yourself, I'll accept myself once I reach that goal, once I lose the weight, once I have the perfect job, or once I've figured everything out? The truth is, if you wait until you've reached some arbitrary point of perfection before you accept yourself, you'll never truly get there. Because perfection, as we often think of it, is an illusion. It's a moving target. And if you spend your life waiting to be perfect before you embrace yourself, you'll miss the most important thing, the acceptance of who you are right now. You see, the journey of self-acceptance isn't about waiting for some future version of yourself. It's about loving and accepting the person you are today, in this very moment, flaws and all. This is the version of you that's worthy of love, growth, and success. This is the version of you that's capable of becoming even better, even stronger, but only if you accept where you are right now. I know it's not easy. We've all been conditioned in some way to believe that we have to change to be accepted. Society tells us that we need to be thinner, more successful, more polished, and more impressive in order to be worthy of love and respect. But the truth is, you can't wait to change in order to accept yourself. When you embrace yourself for who you are, at every stage of your journey, that's when real transformation begins. And the amazing thing is, once you truly accept yourself, you'll notice that the world around you starts to shift. It's not about waiting for others to accept you. It's not about meeting other people's expectations or adhering to their standards. People may not understand the changes you're making. They might question the new you, or they might not see the growth you're experiencing. But when you've accepted yourself, none of that matters, because you're not living for their approval. You're living for your own. Let me share a story with you. I know a woman who spent years trying to fit into other people's molds. She tried to live up to her family's expectations, her friends' expectations, and even her colleagues' expectations. She was always seeking validation from others. She was never quite enough in her own eyes, always looking outside herself for that approval, that confirmation that she was doing things right. But no matter how much she tried to please others, she always felt empty inside. She wasn't truly happy. It wasn't until she stopped seeking validation and started embracing her true self, her quirks, her flaws, her strengths, that she found peace. She learned to love herself just as she was, not as the world wanted her to be. Once she embraced her authentic self, something incredible happened. She became confident in her choices, and the people who truly mattered began to appreciate her for who she truly was. This is the power of self-acceptance. When you stop waiting for others to approve of you and start living authentically, you become unstoppable. You stop questioning your worth because you already know that you are enough. The people who are meant to be in your life will recognize your authenticity, and they'll support you in your growth. Those who can't see your value will fall away, and that's okay, because you're not living for their validation anymore. You're living for yourself. The truth is, when you accept yourself, you tap into a well of power that no external validation can ever give you. You stop wasting energy on trying to prove yourself to others, and instead, you put that energy into becoming the best version of yourself. And that version of you, the one that is unapologetically authentic, is the one that will attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences. So today, stop waiting for perfection. Accept yourself just as you are right now. Love the person you are in this moment, knowing that you're a work in progress. And trust me, when you embrace that truth, you'll see doors open, relationships deepen, and a life filled with more fulfillment than you ever thought possible. When you accept who you are becoming, there is nothing that can hold you back, because the real power lies in knowing that you are already enough. As you go through the process of growth and transformation, you'll likely encounter a realization that many people find difficult to accept. You may outgrow certain relationships. This isn't a reflection of something wrong with those people, and it's not about abandoning anyone. It's about something much deeper, something that's at the core of your evolution. As you grow and change, your values, your priorities, and your direction in life may shift. And as this happens, it's only natural that some relationships, whether with friends, family, or even colleagues, no longer serve you the way they once did. This is a painful truth. It can feel heartbreaking, even guilt-inducing, to acknowledge that you no longer connect with people you once shared everything with. Maybe they were the ones who were there when you struggled. Maybe they helped you through tough times, and now it feels like you're moving in a different direction, leaving them behind. But here's something you need to understand. Growth is about progression, not stagnation. When you step into your purpose, when you begin to align yourself with your true potential, you are no longer the same person you once were, and neither are the people around you. It's not that these people are bad or that they don't matter. It's just that your path is leading you in a new direction. The way you see the world, the way you see yourself, and the way you want to contribute to the world may no longer align with the relationships that were once a central part of your life. And that's okay. The truth is, growth requires space, and sometimes the people around you, no matter how much you love them, can't give you the space to grow in the ways that you need. This can feel lonely, especially when you're in the midst of major transformation. But what you're doing isn't walking away from people, it's walking toward your own future. Let me share something that may help you gain perspective on this. I once heard someone say, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that for a moment. If you're constantly surrounded by people who don't share your vision, who aren't challenging you to grow, who aren't supporting your journey, it's like trying to run a race while carrying a heavy weight. Your progress will be slow, and you'll feel exhausted. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you, who encourage you to become better and push past your limits, something amazing happens. You begin to rise. You begin to excel. You begin to feel lighter, more motivated, and more confident in your own ability to succeed. Now, I'm not saying you should discard the people who've been with you through thick and thin. Not at all. There's a way to honor the relationships that have helped shape you, while also making room for those that will help elevate you as you evolve. It's about recognizing that your growth may require you to step into new spaces and meet new people who are on the same trajectory as you. This doesn't mean you're abandoning your past, it just means you're stepping into a future that aligns with who you are becoming. It's easy to get caught up in guilt when you feel yourself outgrowing relationships. You might wonder if you're being selfish or ungrateful, but growth isn't selfish. Growth is about becoming the best version of yourself. And in doing so, you open up the possibility of bringing even more value to the people around you. Sometimes this means that some relationships will naturally fade away, and that's part of the process. The people who are meant to be in your life will remain, and new, like-minded individuals will enter your circle. Remember, you are not responsible for holding people in the same place just because you once shared a bond. Everyone has their own path, their own pace of growth. And as you continue to evolve, you will naturally attract those who are walking alongside you, who see the world in a similar way, and who encourage you to keep moving forward. So give yourself permission to let go of relationships that no longer serve you, not because you don't value them, but because you're stepping into a new chapter of your life. The right people will understand your journey, and they will support you just as you will support them in their own growth. Embrace this phase of transformation. Trust that the relationships that are meant for you will find their way into your life, and those that aren't meant to go with you will naturally fall away. It's all part of the process of becoming who you were always meant to be. As you stand at the threshold of change, I want you to remember one thing. The world may not understand the new version of you, and that's perfectly all right. You see, growth is a personal journey, one that no one else can walk for you. No one else can fully comprehend. You might feel the pressure of others' opinions, the weight of their confusion, but none of that should deter you. What's crucial in this journey is that you understand the transformation that's happening within you. You understand that it's not just a phase or a passing trend. It's your evolution, your next chapter, your future self unfolding before your eyes. Change isn't always comfortable. It doesn't always look pretty, but I can assure you that it's necessary. The person you're becoming isn't a version of you that the world has seen before. And that's why it's going to be met with resistance. It's not that people mean to be unsupportive. It's simply that they don't yet understand the depth of your transformation. They might ask, why are you changing? They might question your decisions, your new path. But here's the thing, their lack of understanding isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their own limitations. They can't yet see what you've come to understand, that the person you are becoming is someone who is aligned with your true purpose. And that person is exactly who you're meant to be. The path you're walking is yours alone. And though it may feel lonely at times, it's important to remember that your growth is essential. It's what will push you to achieve things that others may never dream of. Your journey is the one you've chosen, and that choice is powerful. There will be moments of doubt, moments when you feel like giving up, when you feel like you've lost those who once stood by your side. But in those moments, remember this, your transformation is not about losing anything, it's about gaining everything. You're gaining new perspectives, new opportunities, and a deeper understanding of who you truly are. You're gaining the strength to face challenges that once seemed insurmountable. You're gaining the confidence to move forward, even when it seems like the world around you is telling you to stop. The discomfort you feel right now, the uncertainty, the fear of the unknown, it's all part of the process. And while it might seem overwhelming at times, know this, you are exactly where you need to be. You are not just changing for the sake of change. You are evolving into the person you were always meant to become. And as you step into this new version of yourself, you'll begin to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that align with the person you are becoming. It might not happen overnight, but if you stay true to your path, you will see that everything you need is already on its way to you. So my friends, keep moving forward. Don't be afraid to embrace the discomfort. Don't be afraid to outgrow relationships that no longer serve you. Don't be afraid to make the tough decisions that will push you toward your dreams. Trust the process, trust yourself, and trust that the new you is not just okay, it's necessary. The world may not always understand your journey, but you don't need the world to understand. All you need is the conviction to keep moving forward, no matter how tough it gets. The person you are becoming is exactly who you are meant to be. Your growth is not just important, it's crucial, not only for you, but for the world around you. You have something unique to offer, something that only you can give. So embrace the journey, keep evolving, keep growing, because the new you is exactly what the world needs.